Hello, my friends. We are now on part 4 of Google's Universal AI Mode triggers the new AI agent verdict economy. And this is going to be quite interesting. So we're going to talk a little bit about how Rose continued the conversation at Google I/O 2025. And what I really want to emphasize here is we're going to be looking at this a little bit differently. This is really about what the masses missed about Ask with Video when Rose gave her talk on Google search results via Google Lens. And some of you already know, as Jimmy has talked about Google Lens and how images are important and the proper structuring on the site. You've heard Daryl talk about images. We've talked about images and schema and optimization and optical character recognition. So I want to point out a couple of things. When Rose was talking about her Ask with Google, and she was able to have the video running, what's going on with video is it's taking pictures. It's not actually full feed video. This is also true with OpenAI ChatGPT. They're just taking snapshots, okay, over a certain period of time. But I want to point out how important this is. This is what I want you to watch for. Images just became search objects, and therefore Google Lens has implemented the meta entities feature. That's implied or it's implicit with images. This means that search engines will fully understand the meaning. This is what I want you to think about of an image object and videos, and images themselves become entities. Daryl Osborne, myself, and Jimmy have been talking to you about that for years, okay? So this is an important part. And the other thing I want to point out to you, and this is what was not easy to see. When she was talking about this, she was saying, why will this not stay in place? And she was pointing to her turntable. And then she took a picture of that, and it knew exactly what it was. So this means that the image equals the object, okay, and the entity, without even putting it in the query text. This is really key to why a lot of people are failing, and this is very much related to what Jimmy is saying about images and trying to help you put images that are related to what's on the page. This is what Daryl and I are talking about how to include images within schema functions, properly theming them. There's a whole bunch of very unusual things that are going to happen now that you do not need to name the object in the actual search query or query string. Okay? So this is actually quite remarkable. So what this means is that the most helpful links makes it into the image entity AI summary. If you slow down what she was actually saying, you could see that Audio Technica came up. And I've looked at several other URLs that came back, and it was the most helpful that came back. Okay, and again, I cannot. This is the first thing that stuck out for me as an entity person, is that why will this equals your turntable arm? Okay, that's really, really interesting, guys. It just means that the object, an image itself, can extract the object. It can never be mentioned in the human world. Okay, and that's where things are actually going. So this is the dawn of AI real-time meaning and insight engines. Okay, again, we're talking about insight engines down here. So insight engines are able to extract from their environment, not necessarily based on keywords, but on multiple vectors of entities and derive truth, even though the truth may be not mentioned as the object. Okay, that's only one of the many factors of an insight engine. We'll get into that much more later in our Eureka Gain course, since our software is almost done. At the time of this video, which is June 3rd, 2025. So voice, AR, optical character recognition, Gemini Advanced, Pre-AGI, multi-vector reasoning, and advanced problem solving in zero in I think I typoed that, but solving to zero in a multi-layer insight solution. Okay, so this is the insight engine I've been warning you about. Okay, so main thing here that I found fascinating about the talk is putting several AI vectors together. Okay, so it's the object itself, it's Gemini 2.5, it's the actual image being able to read the optical character recognition, and then also its voice from Rose to this. Putting all that together, very, very powerful stuff. Okay, so she can actually speak it into there. This is going to be one vector. Okay, you can use Super Whisper and other things like that across all of your agents on your desktop if you want. Look up Super Whisper because it's the future of AI audio. And then, of course, you can see it's going to find multiple functions. The main thing I want you to think about here is that there are multiple images inside of the video. of any given video. And you will actually have a very difficult time finding out how to extract images from a YouTube video with what is called keyframes. There's FFPNG and a few other things like that, but they don't summarize very well. That's because the real data, my friends, are inside of the images, inside the videos. And we're working on something for that right now because we cannot believe how difficult it's been to create a summarizer that includes images from the video. Okay? It's very interesting to see that the reason that Google has protected that and YouTube has protected that is because they're teaching thousands of robots in virtual space how to perform actions, analyzing not just text now, but videos themselves, so they can execute zero shot in the physical world. Okay, this is a huge thing to understand. So this is why video extraction and video Eureka Game Score will become the best way to create content. Answer engine broadcasting is what we call this at Superintelligent, so in our company. So answer engine broadcasting is the ability to broadcast your brand, but you're going to have to start remembering what is inside your video. Okay, single frame, entity, and brand extraction. Okay, in other words, here's a shot where they showed that the Astra and the video interpreter was able to see the brand, which is audio techniques, I think it is. Okay, and this is amazing because Jimmy and I were talking about this as early as 5 years ago, where we had the Texas image inside of the Jimmy Kelly Digital area. So again, this is stuff we've been talking about for a while. Okay, and Quora Boost is related to it, Eureka Gain Score is related to it, and of course all of the local entities we've been showing you. Again, one of the things I'm showing you here with Quora is that as Liz came back and started talking about Google doing everything, including your thinking, they're almost encouraging you to outsource your thinking. Google's going to do the researching, the searching, and the planning. They want this thing to take over your life, you guys. Okay, we'll do the brainstorming. And their new motto is just ask, okay? And I have always said that questions are the answer. One of my companies I launched a year and a half ago was Answer Marketing. This is the Just Ask Answer Marketing, okay? Now here's what I thought was kind of funny. So they, at the end of the talk, they have a person who can't work his camera, and he keeps saying things like, why is this lever not moving at all? And of course, they show you why is the lever not moving at all. And again, like in Rose's talk, it doesn't name the object, but the object is understood by the AI overview. Okay? And a film camera's film advanced lever. It's called an advanced lever. Not loaded. And they skipped this in the presentation, but I wanted to show you that Quora came up. They slid past it because they just scrolled down because they were highlighting the new AI features. But I wanted you to see that Quora was definitely one of the prominent results inside of the whole AI Astra or the video to answer engine that they were showing. Okay, I just thought that was really, really funny. Okay, and because you guys, if you go over into our members area and you start looking, even at the old material that we had almost a year and a half ago is still valid today. In fact, you don't even have to work that hard in the old version, which is trying to get your subdomain.quora.com blog into the community answer field. Okay, they've clamped down a bit on that, but that's not the essence of getting into the answer engines. The essence is making sure that you have a blog dedicated to the topic. It's very easy to do. They encourage it. You don't even have to worry about messing around with the community anymore. Okay, that was just funny. The scene ends with him all happy, and thank you, Quora. Now, Google, of course, aggregated all that information, and the AI Gemini 2.5 and/or AI mode, of course, assessed all the links, looked at the retrieval augmented search, and then gave the final verdict and answer. And I was just joking around with you guys. Thank you, Quora. Well, it's kind of fun. So here's the big finish. Google takes all in the AI race long term. That's my opinion. And of course, we had the Nobel laureate come out who's won a Nobel Prize for protein folding because he's part of the whole AlphaFold version 1 and 2 model. But here's what I want you guys to think of clearly. And now that I've been showing you for over a year the pictures of the future of search and everything else, now you can know where all this stuff is going to fit in. The world models, okay, and that's what they're working on now. So the AI personal assistant with long-term memory across all freemium apps and workspace apps, that goal is to launch Gemini Context Persist by the summer of this year, okay? And I just corrected the 2025 there. So by the summer of 2025. Okay, so here's the thing, guys. It's going to be everywhere. And who has been the number one organization in the world that's used freemium models to create lock-in for their users? Okay, this is a very high stakes game because they've discovered that the tripwire to from zero cost premium to premium and eventually workspace is a model that has made Google one of the 10,000-pound gorillas in the room. Okay, now they're going to do that with AI. We've been watching Google Gemini slowly get better across multiple applications, but the 2.5 version of Gemini is quite sophisticated. Okay, main thing to note is that Google has the best entities, the KGMID anchors that we've been teaching you guys about, some of you for over 5 or 8 years. These are the backbone data sets used by many LLMs and AI web scrapers. Trillions of entities, epistemic facts, people, places, and things are owned primarily by Google. Okay? So Google has been giving up all these epistemological anchors to all the big AI companies anyways. That's when OpenAI has been scraping these. I've given you guys the training on how the robot scrapers are pulling into all of these. They're pulling Google. The tables have been turned on Google when it comes to AI bots. So coming soon to Gemini Live, Search Live, this is all developers can use the search functions. They're going to be very liberal with giving up their search abilities. So Google search is moving to a takeout Perplexity AI. They want to get rid of it. And companies like that are actually infringing upon their search. Now, as we begin to get more advanced, I want to point out that it doesn't start with just Google. Google search for the public is a consumer-based product, but it's really just the beginning of where they're going. And by the way, when I say surrounding the camp, in my opinion, Google took more responsible approach to AI because it waited to make sure the AI systems, Gemini, could be integrated holistically into their entire ecosystem. Okay, they surrounded the camp. Now, I'm not saying they did that out of the goodness of their heart for their consumer. I'm saying they did that because of their shareholders. But it did put them deeper under the system rather than just search engines and over into private engines such as innovation engines like AlphaFold 3 and other systems that you and I can't really use very easily, can't just log into them. Okay, these are innovation engines, which we'll be talking about in our Eureka Gain Score training, okay, which is an innovation score. Google DeepMind has already been building deep scientific insight engines and secretly building narrow AI scientific innovation engines for several years. Again, that speaks to what I've already been talking to you guys about. And the content system we're building, and yes, I've been building it for a few months because it was expensive and difficult to do because nobody else is doing it. We didn't want to be just another AI wrapper. We wanted you guys to be able to spin out content with a high innovation and insight gain score that would be useful enough to be on any kind of ambient engines that Google might come up with next. Okay, Google DeepMind has already been building deep scientific insight engines and secretly building narrow AI engines for years. So they've been surrounding the camp. Their claim is to advance human knowledge, unlock scientific progress as we move towards the robot singularity. Okay, keep in mind, guys, that Alpha Proof can do silver medal level math problems. Okay, starting to compete in some ways, although it's different with Wolfram Alpha and other search engines like that. It's really important to know what's going on with that. Another thing I want to say is that co-scientists have many classified projects for scientific research. Co-scientist is kind of the heavy stuff, guys. This is what you would call an innovation engine. Okay, so now those of you who have been trained in my Eureka Gain Score training, innovation engine, the new software that we're rolling out that will not be the custom GPT that some of you are using, will be an innovation engine, and it'll have a score on it. That means the likelihood that something new and novel as a material science and or invention of some kind, not just innovation and insight, I'm sorry, not just insight and answers, but innovation, that there's the possibility that you can build something real, a generative software, and how to do that. Those are expensive type of search engine, guys. Okay, um, this one should scare the bleep out of you. If it does not, you probably don't understand it. This is Alpha Evolve. This is the thing that gives me pause. Alpha Evolve is starting to move into the area that the doomers in the AI field are quite concerned about. And this is the ability for internal self-improvement and not necessarily with human reinforced training. Okay, this is unsupervised learning in some situations. It's still supervised, but it's moving towards that. And I won't get too much into that. Some of you who've contacted me, especially a group of investors who might be watching this, the AMIE medical diagnostic AI system does point more to moving towards medical databases. And non-open source versions of AlphaFold is AlphaFold 3, which of course gave rise inevitably to an innovation engine, okay, called Isomorphic Labs. In order to go from insight to innovation, that is, what can the pharmaceutical company actually build with this stuff? Regardless of how you feel about pharmaceutical companies or medical, they're the ones who can afford to pay for the actual innovation and own the patents on anything that AI discovers. Okay, and that's again why this future of the future search chart I gave you was preparing you for what's coming. And yeah, a new era of scientific discovery and hopefully not a new era of self-improving artificial Frankensteins. So we have a lot to be responsible for, guys. Google has surrounded the camp when it comes to AI. They did not get mad. They got even in a big way with all the other AI um, systems, the neuro processing systems of OpenAI's attention is all you need. So when I say they didn't get mad, they got even, it was attention is all you need. That was primarily the Google AI community. And they open sourced that paper not knowing what was possible with it. Okay. So guys, we're well on a trajectory to superintelligence. Okay. And so a couple months back, I created this score in anticipation of this. Didn't expect to roll it out until 2027, but here we are. This is called the MSLR score, and this is also going to be a part of the Eureka Gain training system that's inside a members area. Um, Guys, we're really rapidly moving towards artificial general intelligence and artificial superintelligence. The reason is you can't look at just one isolated narrow AI. You have to look at the big backbone of Gemini 2.5, Gemini 2.5 Flash, which will actually be able to read your screen and give you advice while it's watching you in real time, with Gemini Pro, with total integration and context, visual search and conversations with audio AI, and real-time environments for gaming with world models, okay, that'll train robots, okay, to execute tasks, both military and or domestic, zero shot in the physical world. Okay, total discovery all the time. Universal AI assistant will spread to all of these. You see where this is going, guys? Okay, this is why I called my company AI Super Intelligent AI, right? It's no longer about search engines anymore by themselves. Guys, we are going to be moving rapidly to right here. Okay, and that's what I want you to be aware of. Okay, so we're predicting that Google already has AGI, artificial general intelligence, but cannot roll it out due to safety issues. Remember, the person giving this presentation for DeepMind is Nobel laureate Demi Hazzabis, who won the Nobel Prize in chemistry for his work in protein structure. Okay, that's the main thing to realize is the people at Google presenting are no longer like ordinary marketers. Okay, Liz is a marketer from the search department, and my old friend Danny Sullivan works in spam department. But this gentleman is, I don't know if I'm saying his name right, Demi. He is Nobel laureate, science extraordinaire, and a long-time veteran of the AI industry with knowledge of the system. He's considered by some in Silicon Valley the most dangerous person in AI. Okay. So for those of you who like to overthink things, here's what comes after the Eureka Gain Score technology that our developers and I are going to be rolling out upcoming, the Superintelligent Singularity. Inspired by Google X Astro Teller, my Moonshot Lightning Rod score, that's the MSLRS score you saw above. It's an extremely advanced AI reasoning algorithm that I'm working on underneath all of this that can predict the viability and success probability of a moonshot project before the investor capital is even ever burned. This is an idea I got from Astro Teller himself at Google X. I've been working and participating in workshops and information campaigns around his work. Okay, so MSLRS score can also be used for personal projects and life scope projects. It can help lower the cost of failed business launches and what have you. Okay, so that is all. Many of you have asked me like what the MSLRS score is, and that's what that is. Okay, it's an AI system that uses predictive learning and focuses on some stuff that I learned from Astro Teller. And I just want to close with this, guys. I've been in the search retrieval game for a long time. We're no longer just in search retrieval. We are in AI. The search engines are now thinking. They are no longer even adolescents. My friend Jason Bernard likes to say that the search engines were children, now they're becoming adolescents, and they need to be told things again and again. Well, the search engines are graduating into answer engines, which are full-fledged adults, and they can not only talk back, they can have an opinion, they can think about anything they can influence your customers, your brand, your users, and they can have a strong opinion, as you saw in the video prior to this one, video number 2, I think. Okay, so looking back through all the old archives of the thousands of students I've taught around the world, and not all of them in person, but here's some of the live events, I just want to say that I did not expect things to be as intense as they are. Some of the greats that I've had the opportunity to work with, like Daryl and Jimmy and Jason Bernard, of course, is probably going to be left standing in all this. I think a variety of the techniques and methods that we've been seeing are not going to survive. If people didn't lay a solid foundation with the KGMIDs, which lead the robot epistemological anchors, the AI opinion anchor system that the answer engines will use to gather up their retrieval augmented answers, SEOs are not going to really be able to transform their business if they don't make a big change. Okay, so if you're an SEO agency and you're working on this stuff, I strongly recommend that you begin to look at the future because we're already here, and this has everything to do with branding. Your brand needs to become friends with the answer engines. Everything from Gemini 2.5 to Grok to ChatGPT to Claude to Perplexity to all the AI systems that are working. We're almost at the beginning of where we were with the search engine relationship chart. So, for example, one of my early mentors, Bruce Clay, who I took my first SEO training from in 2003, we had a chart called the search engine relationship chart, and it used to be absolutely covered with search. In fact, you can look at one of our old ones. These don't even exist anymore, okay? But look how many search engines there used to be. Now, will AI ambient engines go the same way, where all of these eventually became obsolete and they were bought up by other companies? We might see that, but we don't know. But it's very likely, Google is not going to be the ones that collapse, okay? And so really what I'm trying to tell you here is that we've been in this business for 25 years and we've hung out with some of the greats. And one of the things that we want you to know is that these days are over. Okay, the search engines now have transformed into answer engines. And with that being said, we've been around long enough to see the trajectory of information network systems and answers begin to become more and more ambient, meaning we're starting to enter into the search engine instead of have the search engine be something that we go to. Okay, I'm going to close with this conversation. I'm going to close this conversation with what we talked about at the top. I didn't know 20 years ago when Larry Page said this. I want to build a search engine where you'll be able to ask any query. You can get up in the morning and ask, hey, Russell, what should I ask myself this morning? Or what should my search engine ask? In other words, I can ask my search engine, hey, search engine, what should I look up this morning? People are going to be abdicating more and more their opinion to AI chatbots. Okay, they're going to want to get the opinion from people. Human beings are going to be getting influenced and given verdicts without clearly thinking them through. Okay, and this is something that this is a pitch and an awareness you need to bring to your clients. Okay, and I'm going to close also with a singular idea that persuasion, which is Dr. Cialdini's original work, is something that we've got to all watch out for. Because what happens with persuasion, this is Dr. Robert Cialdini's book, which I do recommend that you have in your library. Persuasion is an ambient experience that human beings have that before they even arrive at the actual source of information, when they're information foraging, that they've already made up their mind based on several factors that they've already been persuaded by. And as you saw in the previous videos, the answer engines and the AI systems are giving strong opinions about whether or not you should buy a product, whether you should trust a company. So this is why I've been doubling down so hard over the last couple of years on reputation, because I could see exactly where things were going to go. Okay, let me show you this. Here's a brand that Jimmy and I worked on for quite a while. We were checking about it. Can I trust Haas and Hughes with my frame order? Okay, look at this. This is a verdict. It's not just saying, maybe look at this. It's not a biased response. It's not information where you make your decision. In this scenario, okay, the decision is preempted for you, and it has a persuasive effect on your brand, okay? The customer is being persuaded by the search engines and the answer engines, okay? Similarly here, okay? In a different type of question, when you snap over to AI mode, This is kind of a meh. Hosting news seems to be a mixed bag. Do you want to be called a mixed bag? Do you want your clients to be called a mixed bag? Okay, there's a myriad of reviews, and every question and the way you phrase it and the location, whether it's an AI mode or whether it's back on the AI search, we've noticed they're all different. So these companies are still getting, just like during the search engine years, when the search engines were still trying to figure themselves out, and the last man was left standing, regardless of who wins in this race. Okay, regardless of who wins, the AI is going to have a asymmetrical effect on the brand reputation, which is why we've given you Embed My Reviews, we've given you Page, we've given you a bunch of tools and AI-powered systems to be working for your clients so that you can have an ally. You can transform the AI mode and the AI systems into allies. Okay, you need to help your clients and customers not only rank, but rank inside the answer engines and become allies with these AI systems by giving them the information they need from both schema, proper impressions, proper language, and positive reviews. Okay, guys, you've heard me beating the drum on positive reviews. There is a reason I've been preparing you for that, because the reviews are how answer engines will continue to get information. They'll get better and better at determining fake reviews from real reviews. Okay, but for us, it's about spreading those real reviews onto Quora systems inside of the platforms using the over 20 different kinds of systems that we've given you in Embed My Reviews, and connect them all via schema to have your clients and your customers completely in harmony with all the AI engines, from AI mode to Grok to ChatGPT to Claude and many, many more AI systems called ambient AI answer engines to come. All right, my friends, I want to wrap up this introductory course, and I hope this has been helpful. Please do go over to Agency Elite and start working with the software, because I'm going to be showing you exactly how to use Quora and answer engines and reviews. And in Move 37, Daryl and I will be rolling out more and more information on schema. Thank you.